Lieutenant Timothy Willis.
Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony about the other truth, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, please step up, grab a seat, and then would you please state your name for the record?
Timothy Willis, TimothyWillis.
Go ahead, prosecutor.
Thank you, Judge. I just need to make sure this is connected.
Is this on, Judge?
What's that?
Is this on?
That usually is last. That usually is on last. So
Thank you.
let's hold on a second.
Is the screen on, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the last thing that is on usually.
May I proceed, Judge?
Go ahead.
Sir, how are you employed?
I'm a detective lieutenant with the Oakland County Sheriff's Office.
What is a detective lieutenant?
My duties include I'm one of two detective lieutenants in the Investigative Forensic Services Division. We offer support services through investigations to our agency and really law enforcement in the region. My duties include the Special Investigations Unit. I'm in charge of that. I'm in charge of the Fugitive Apprehension Team. I'm in charge of the Computer Crimes Unit, and I'm in charge of our Warrants Unit.
Okay. And we've heard about the Special Investigative Unit through Sergeant Joseph Bryan. Does that individual work for you as well?
He does.
Okay, so specifically the Special Investigative Unit, can you tell the jury what they do?
So the Special Investigations Unit handles major crimes for our agency. We often get requests from other agencies to assist with their crimes or handle them. These crimes range from high-profile cases, political cases, whatever really they kind of request. Our training is pretty expansive in as much that we handle like larger, complex cases.
Okay. And how long have you been a lieutenant?
Since 2016.
Okay. And all told, how long have you been a police officer?
I hired in 1996, so I'm approaching 28 years.
All right. Sir, I'd like to direct your attention to November the 30th, 2021. Do you recall that day?
I do.
Were you notified of an active shooter situation at the Oxford High School?
I was actually at the prosecutor's office discussing another totally separate matter, and the prosecutor and her chief assistant came in and advised me, was I aware that there was a shooting at the Oxford High School, and I was not at the time.
Okay, so you were meeting on a different case completely?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall approximately the time that occurred?
It was around, understand it was a very difficult time to remember exactly, but it was around 1 o'clock.
Okay. And what did you do when you were notified?
Prior to that, we had recently had a similar, but it was a false alarm incident at a different school. So my initial thought was this was another one of those, just someone pulled an alarm or something happened. I immediately collected my things. I got up and walked. I made a phone call. For the life of me, I've been trying to remember who I called. I cannot remember. I do remember them telling me it's real.
Okay. And when you were told it's real, what clicked in with you?
I went downstairs.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Take your time.
I went downstairs and immediately got in my car and went lights and sirens to the scene.
Okay. When you say lights and sirens, what does that mean?
My vehicle is an undercover vehicle for all intents and purposes, but it is equipped with lights and sirens to respond to different things. So, police term, we call it coding. It's just like when you see cops racing to the scenes. It was very similar to that, except my car is an undercover type vehicle.
Do you recall how long it took you to get there?
It was somewhere within 20 minutes, I believe it was.
Okay. Do you remember the drive at all?
I remember portions of the drive to the scene. If you're familiar with the area, M24, Lapeer Road is the major route that we took to get there. It's the major road to get there, and it was completely lights, sirens, cars, just flooding northbound on Lapeer Road, and it was chaos.
So I'm going to show you what's already been admitted as People's 5. This is a map of the Oxford High School. Can you see that on your screen?
I can, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me what you observed when you first arrived at the school?
I observed when I came, there was students leaving the school. There was police officers flooding into the school. Emergency first responders. I know some of our people came right from their home address. It was I remember being shocked at, I live in a neighboring community, and I was just shocked that we have that amount of resources in a northern Oakland County school that quickly. Because, I really moved to get there, and by the time I was there, people were just flooding that place.
Do you recall where you went? First of all, let me ask you this. Did you go inside the school?
I did.
Okay, when you went inside the school, what was the situation?
I have no recollection of where I parked exactly, but I know I went in through the front office area. You can see on right there where it says office.
Okay.
That entrance on the south there.
So this would be the main entrance to the school?
Yes.
Okay.
Captain Todd Hill, he was then a lieutenant, had already set up an incident command post, an interior post. Understand, we had a perimeter all secured. We were securing all the doors, no one in and out unless you were law enforcement or emergency first responders. And we set up, because it was so cold that day, it wasn't ideal. However, the area where we were at, we determined to be relatively safe. So all of us responded to that area to start handing out our assignments. We refer to that as the interior command.
Okay, so you said incident command, interior command. Tell us the difference.
I'm sorry. So the interior command is just the location on the interior. Incident command is where most, if not all, the decisions are made. So at the time, the incident commander, Captain Hill, his focus was casualties, safety and security of the building, and searching for additional shooters. When I was driving to the scene, I do recall them saying, we were getting tips from, imagine being a civilian, driving around and seeing cars fly by you, hearing about a shooting. We got tips just flooded into our 911 center about, I think the shooter's in this car. I think the shooter's in this car. There's a man in a camouflage jacket running through the gravel pit. We think that's a shooter. So it was just, all we knew to do was go to the school first. We had no idea what else, if anything, was going on. So the exterior command was set up to first to protect the school. The interior command was set up to handle the issues going on within the school that, for lack of a better term, were most known at that point. Okay,
so you were a lieutenant at the time?
I was.
Okay. And at the time you were also in charge of the special investigative unit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You said Lieutenant, now Captain Hill was focused on the active scene. So
yes, sir. Clearing
and casualties, things like that? Okay, what was your focus then?
So immediately upon entering the thing, I had a brief conversation with Captain Hill, advised that I would be handling the investigative portion of this, and we started then devising a plan, the best way that I could participate in the active investigation while the other stuff was going on. There was so many tips, if you will, social media tips coming in about this, that, and the other that, a lot of them certainly proved not to be true, but they had to be vetted. So, I could not just go in and start investigating the scene. There was several opportunities, i.e. For us to interview. We heard victims were at hospitals that needed to be interviewed. There was obviously tons of staff, personnel, and students still on the scene that we wanted to talk to and discuss and try to figure out what had happened.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that it was your responsibility to coordinate this investigative effort?
Yes, sir. So my job, that's exactly what my job is. My job is to direct those resources to the follow-up investigation.
Would it be fair to say that you are the officer in charge of this case?
Yes, that's fair to say.
Tell the jury, please, what does it mean to be an officer in charge?
So, as I stated earlier, I direct the investigation, meaning identify and attempt to interview, or have my team attempt to interview victims, witnesses. I assist. You saw Bob Catellis up here from the crime lab. Him and I worked together about obtaining what evidence we deemed was going to be necessary for this case. I direct officers, to secure I directed the officers to secure the Crumbley home because we learned where the shooter lived. At the end of that, I comprised the information, and then I turned it over to the prosecutor's office, and then we discuss charging decisions.
Okay. And that's what an officer in charge does in every investigation.
That's right. This investigation was not unique to that. We do them with all of ours.
Okay. Now, it's fair to say that there was a massive amount of evidence uncovered in this case.
Yes. Imagine we estimated approximately 1,700 people in the school that day. They weren't using their lockers. There was backpacks, cell phones, just dropped in. Obviously, they were worried about their safety. So we just had a lot of evidence within the school, not counting, evidence at different hospitals from victims, the shooter's home, things of that nature.
Okay. Judge, may I approach the witness?
Sure.
This is Exhibit 1. We have a stipulation.
Yes. Your Honor, we would stipulate to exhibits. You're going to do 1 through 4.
1 through 4.
1 through 4. Thank you. 1 through 4 admitted.
Sir, I'll just give you all these right here.
Okay.
One is on top.
Yep.
Can you tell me, please, what I've just handed you?
These are the autopsy protocols for the 4 deceased victims.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that's all. Okay, thank you.
Sir, tell us, you've reviewed the autopsy protocols in this case?
Yes, sir.
Do you know the identities of the victims who were murdered on November the 30th?
I do.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been admitted, stipulated to as Exhibit 418. Who is that?
That's Hannah St. Juliana.
Okay. And how old was she when she was killed?
14.
And sir, can you tell us, please, how she was killed?
The official cause and manner of death from the autopsy protocol is multiple gunshot wounds, homicide. She was shot in her upper torso, her abdomen, her thighs.
Could you refer to Exhibit 2?
I'm sorry, and her left forearm. I'm sorry.
You don't need to apologize. Referring to Exhibit 2 now.
Lieutenant, can you tell me if you know did I promote or didn't promote you lieutenant? Can you tell me if you need a break?
Yes. Yeah. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
just let me know, okay?
Yep. Thank you.
Now, this is People's 419 on the screen. Now, also referring to, this has been stipulated to, also referring to Exhibit 2, autopsy protocol for Madison Baldwin. Sir, how old was she when she was killed on November the 30th?
17 years old.
And how did she die?
Again, cause and manner of death was gunshot wound to the head. Manner of death was homicide. It was a close contact shot, meaning the firearm was either on or near the victim's head when the trigger was pulled.
Referring now to Exhibit 3. That's an autopsy protocol for Justin Schilling, is that right?
I think I have Tate Mears 3, Justin Schilling's 4.
Thank you, Tate Mears. And how old was he when he was killed?
Tate Mears was 16 years old.
This is Exhibit 420. It's been stipulated to. Tell us, please, how Tate was killed.
Again, the cause and manner of death from the autopsy protocol was gunshot wound. Tate had multiple gunshot wounds. Manner of death was homicide. Tate was shot in the back of the head at a further distance.
Now, Exhibit 4, sir. And that's the autopsy protocol for Justin Schilling.
Yes.
I'm showing what's been admitted, stipulated to for admission is People's Exhibit 421. Sir, is that Justin Schilling?
It is.
How old was he when he was killed?
17 years old.
Tell the jury, please, how he died.
Justin Schilling, you'll see, you'll observe it, but he was cause and manner of death from the autopsy protocol was gunshot wound to the head, homicide. He was also shot at close contact to the back of the head.
Sir, were others wounded and suffered gunshot wounds as well inside the school?
Yes,
Do you know their names?
I do.
Can you tell us who they are, please?
There's Phoebe Arthur, Elijah Mueller, Kylie Osage, Riley Franz, John Asciutto, Aiden Watson, and Molly Darnell, who testified earlier.
Thank you, sir. Sir, tell us what happened when you assumed, may I approach?
Sure.
I'll take those, sir.
Thank you.
Tell us what happened after you assumed the lead of the investigation. So where were you when this happened, and tell us the first thing that you did.
So the first thing I did was collect myself because I was pretty overwhelmed, and then we were determining areas of the school were had searched, and we were getting kids to the reunification point, which is, I think, was testified to at the Meyer. As that was happening, I made an announcement that I was handling the investigation to the 100+ emergency first responders that were in that office area that we saw earlier. And I said, if you're an investigator, come see me. And in hindsight, I don't know if it was the most efficient way of doing business, because 100 investigators started walking toward me. I've never obviously dealt with anything like that before, but partners from the ATF is where I met Special Agent Brandon, partners from the FBI, local law enforcement from all over the region, all offering help.
Okay, so was it your responsibility at that point to direct certain officers and agencies to do certain aspects of this investigation?
That's correct. They, for instance, Special Agent Brandon approached me do you have the registered owner of the murder weapon? And I said, at this point, no, I did not. He's like, I'll take, let me take some information off the gun. We'll handle that. We'll track that down for you. And he did that, and I saw him, or I heard from him a short time later, where he advised the gun was registered to James Crumbley.
Okay. And you discovered that weapon was purchased on November the 26th, 2021 by Mr. Crumbley?
That's right. Just a few days prior on the Black Friday before.
Now, while you were on scene, did you come to learn the identity of the shooter?
I did.
And then was a decision made to secure the Crumbley family home?
It was. The shooter was on his way to the Oxford substation. I directed a couple of my investigators, Sergeant Joe Bryan, who you saw, to attempt to interview him at the substation. In addition, now that we knew who the shooter was, I directed detectives from the Pontiac substation. Lieutenant Marsband kind of spearheaded that part, and to go to the shooter's home to look for any additional casualties. It's not uncommon in a shooting situation where the shooter starts in the home and then goes to the school. So I was concerned about that initially.
In a school shooting situation?
That's correct.
Okay, and you had learned about that in your training?
Yeah, and just by prior school shootings.
Okay.
It's certainly not uncommon for that to happen.
And so you sent officers to that location, 112 East in Oxford?
I did.
All right. Now, at that time, was there a concern of explosives?
Yes. So, again, understand everything's happened very, very quickly. People started doing open source searches on the name.
The name of whom?
The shooter.
Okay.
And finding different things, and the internet is a very expansive place, as we all know. And there came a video from YouTube of him deploying a Molotov cocktail, which is essentially an accelerant in a bottle with some sort of ignition device, wick, if you will. You throw it, and when you throw it, it blows up, spreads, because the fuel inside it kind of spreads. So there's a YouTube video of that. There was also, and I'm sure we'll get to it, there was also a journal with written passages in it that described secondary devices, meaning, there was a concern, and again, at this point, I went back to Captain Hill and advised him, hey, look, there's a concern that there may be secondary devices in and around the school.
Okay. So when that information became known to you as lead investigator, what steps happened next?
So Captain Hill contacted the Michigan State Police bomb squad. While that was happening, I wasn't present for this, but it's my understanding a canine from the sheriff's office alerted, an explosives canine alerted on the backpack that was found in the bathroom the shooter exited prior to the shooting. So,
what does that mean, an alert?
So the alert means that the dog detected some sort of explosive. Now, it could be a legitimate explosive, it could be a firearm, it could be ammunition, it could be something of that.
Okay. So what was done to alleviate this threat?
So, as I stated, Captain Hill called for the Michigan State Police bomb squad. They went in with a robot, and I have no expertise on how that works, but they determined that the bag was safe.
Okay. Now, sir, you were obviously on the scene at the school on November the 30th, 2021.
I was.
And you became aware that the Oxford High School has a number of security cameras.
That's correct.
Okay. And as officer in charge of the investigation, did you also interview witnesses or review witness statements?
I did.
Okay. As a result of that, did you learn the path the shooter took on Oxford on November the 30th, 2021.
Yes, sir.
So, can you tell us in what hallway and outside what room the shooting started?
Yeah, from the map earlier, you saw the highlighted area. That's all commonly referred to in Oxford as the 200 hallway. There's a short hallway and then a longer hallway. The shooter exited the bathroom adjacent to room 258, and that's when the shooting began.
Okay, I'm going to show you what's already been admitted as People's 12. What are we looking at here?
So this is the backpack that the shooter was carried into the bathroom. That was examined for explosives that we found on the scene.
And what else do we see in this picture?
So you can see that there's some personal effects. There's charging cables. There's a journal. There's a book.
Okay. When you reference journal, this is what we're talking about?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, what of note was discovered on those pages of paper? Not in the journal, but the other pages.
Yeah, so there was over 90 loose leaf papers you can see right there. They're different assignments or whatever. And can't hold me to it. Over 50 were had drawings of firearms on them.
Now, sir, did you have the opportunity to review that handwritten journal that's depicted in People's 12?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. Describe what that journal is.
So the contents, sir, or describe the journal?
Both.
So the journal was a hardbound leather type journal. Should be in there. You might be able to cut it open more. It was there was approximately 22 pages of written information in the journal. It appears from some of the dates that it was written from the back cover to the front. The earlier dates seem to be on the back side, if that makes sense to you. Like I said, it was about 22 pages total in length.
Judge, I'm going to mark this for demonstrative purposes only as exhibits, so the record's clear. I believe that's 428, again for demonstrative purposes.
I'm sorry, may I please take a look at it?
Yes.
Is that just the...
It's just
Okay.
the hard copy journal.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have scissors.
Thank you.
So that black notebook you're holding in your hand, that's what's depicted here in Exhibit 12 that I'm magnifying.
That's correct.
Okay. Now these papers that we just talked about, we said over 50 with different pictures of weapons. There's no evidence that was ever turned into the school. Is that correct?
Yes, I have no evidence of that.
Okay. And you've had the opportunity to read the entire journal?
I have
Okay. Out of that notebook, how many pieces of paper have actual writing?
22.
And does one of those 22 pages include just a drawing and a quote from a book?
Yes.
Okay. Now, out of the remaining 21, how many reference the school shooting?
Every single one.
So there are some that have been admitted, some portions of that. I'm going to go through those with you. Just so you're aware, we've numbered them to keep them straight for you as well as the jury. Number 1 is the drawing, page number 1. Page 22 would be the back cover of that journal. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, and the back cover of the journal has actual writing on it as well.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
This is exhibit 4. what?
Right. Are you gonna go through?
So the ones that have been admitted,
I understand. 401.
they're all 401.
Oh, they're all 401. I see. Thank you.
Correct.
You said it individually, so I got confused.
Okay. So this has been admitted as page 401. Sir, in reading the journal, were there passages in there indicative of a request for mental health help?
Yes.
Can you read what's been identified here as page 6 of that journal?
Yes, the shooter writes, I have zero help, as you can see on the bold, for my mental problems, and it's causing me to shoot up the fucking school.
I'm going to move on to page 5. Could you read this passage, please?
In this one, the shooter writes, I want help, but my parents don't listen to me, and I can't get any help.
Now, this is page 19. Can you read that?
Yes, shooter writes, my parents won't listen to me about help or therapist.
Sir, in that journal, were there entries about the shooter's desire to obtain a 9mm handgun?
Yes.
This is also Exhibit 401, page 22. Could you read those quotes, please?
Yes, the shooter writes, I want to shoot up the fucking school so badly. Soon, I'm going to buy a 9mm pistol.
Sir, were there any passages regarding the shooter's plan for the actual shooting?
Yes, there were.
Okay. Here's page 3, also Exhibit 401. Could you read that, please?
Yes. Shooter writes, I'm about to shoot up the school and spend the rest of my life in prison.
Were there any journal entries about the shooter's access to the 9mm handgun?
There were.
This is also Exhibit 401, also page 3. Could you read that, please?
Yes, sir. The shooter writes, first off, I got my gun. It's a SP 2022 Sig Sauer 9mm. Second, the shooting is tomorrow. I have access to the gun and the ammo. I am fully committed to this now. So yeah, I'm going to prison for life, and many people have about 1 day left to live.
Thank you, sir. Now, is the journal written in normal size fonts, or are there certain passages that are bolded and larger than normal size font?
Both.
Okay. And were there drawings in there as well?
There were drawings.
Okay. Were the drawings small or were they large?
Yeah, there were large drawings.
Okay. What's an example of a large drawing?
Yeah, so there was a large drawing in the journal of a firearm being pointed at the back of a presumably a woman's head. There was a drawing depicting a 9mm caliber round versus a .22 caliber round. Those types of pictures were found in the journal.
Okay. And on the cover of the journal, what does that say? The actual cover of the journal itself?
It says apartments.com.
Okay. Lieutenant, you said you've seen the Oxford High School security footage that depicts the actual shooting.
Yes, sir.
Judge, we're going to introduce that now. This is Exhibit 402. It's been admitted. I would like, if the court can instruct the media not to play that.
Yes, the media has agreed, and I'm going to request that the media not play, show the video in the school. That's surveillance footage of November 30th, 2021, and this People's Exhibit 402. 402, and the victims who are present are aware of the content of this specific video.
Yes, Judge.
Go ahead.
Before we get started, tell us please what this view depicts, what hallway?
Okay, so if you can recall back to the highlighted areas of the school map, this is that short hallway. The shorter portion of the long, it's all of the 200 hallway, but it's the shorter portion of the entire...
Can I stop you for a second? Are you okay if the audio is on still?
There's no audio.
Well,
is audio?
There's streaming in the courtroom, and there might be audio from the news camera, so I just want to make sure that there's no objection.
That's fine. There's no audio of the video.
Okay, right, okay.
Okay, so this is the short portion of the 200 hallway?
Yes, and the bathroom that you see right there by the drinking fountains is the one that, correct. That's where the shooter will go into and then emerge from and begin his shooting.
And that's where that backpack was found?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this doorway here would be the doorway to classroom 258?
That is 258. 58 there, yes.
Okay. And just so the record is clear, this video begins at, it's 12:46 p.m.
Yes.
and the actual shooting began at 12:51.
51.
Okay.
Correct.
I'm going to play right now. Again, this is 12:46. Tell me if and when you see the shooter walking down the hallway.
Okay. He is behind the young lady in the red sweatshirt right there. He's about, yep, with the mask on, the black shirt, and the gray sweatshirt.
Okay. And that's with his backpack over his shoulders?
That's right. Yes, sir. And he's going to make a right turn into the bathroom here.
So we have a split screen at this point, and that's
Just a camera angle from the other hall, or from the same hall facing the other way.
Okay. Okay. I'm stopping at 41 seconds. Identify who you see in this video.
So that's the shooter. If you want to, the two. Yep, that's Phoebe. On the left there is Phoebe Arthur. To the right is Elijah Mueller.
Okay.
This is John Asciutto. So these four young ladies here in the Carhartt or the brown jacket is Kylie Osage. Directly across from her is Hannah St. Juliana. This is Riley Franz in the pink backpack, and across from her is her sister Bella Franz.
Okay.
At the very end, you can see the beginning. That's Madison Baldwin walking up the hallway.
And this is at 12:51 and 12 seconds on November the 30th?
That's correct.
Lieutenant, why do the officers have to run past Madison, Anna, and Kylie?
In our training for active shooters, we were trained to respond, drive up right to the door if you have to, and go in. Search for stimulus, meaning sounds, gunshots, or whatever. Run to that and eliminate the shooter. Stop them, whatever, however you can. Because the situation was active and the killing hadn't stopped. You can't stop and render aid. I know.
We'll take a break, please.
If I could just finish this part, I'd appreciate it.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
We're having a hard time. He's having a hard time.
I know those officers. And that is the hardest thing they've had to do in their life.
Can we take a break, Jeff?
Yeah, we'll take a 10-minute break.